This episode of the PMP Industry Insider Podcast was recorded in August of 2025.
He told me we were the belle of the ball, and I think we were. There's not a lot of King Greens out there, not anymore. Our logo has always been the finest lawn service available, or the finest service company available. And I think they found it, and they were looking for that gem to be polished.
This is the PMP Industry Insider Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome out to another episode of the PMP Industry Insider Podcast, where we take a look at what is changing in the pest and lawn industries, and we take you to the front lines, to those that are driving those changes. I'm Donnie Shelton, owner of Triangle Home Services, which has Triangle Pest as well as Triangle Lawn. And with me is a Florida resident that's not necessarily technically located in Florida at the current moment, but does stay in Florida long enough to claim Florida. I just want to say that for legal purposes. Ms. Dan Jordan, again, would you like to say good evening or afternoon, introduce yourself, our sponsors, and our very special guest?
Absolutely. Greetings from New Jersey. Anyway, Dan Gordon, PCO bookkeepers and M&A specialists. We do accounting and business brokerage for the pest and lawn industry, as well as other consulting. We'd like very much to thank our sponsors. First sponsor is if you're interested in marketing for the pest or lawn business, that would be Coalmarch, coalmarch.com. They do a fantastic job with building an image, creating websites, buying media, et cetera, et cetera. And they are now offering the first free month, or the first month free for podcast listeners. Just visit them, coalmarch.com/podcast to claim that offer. We also, one of our long-standing sponsors is PestSure, and they provide insurance products tailor-made for the pest and lawn industries. They understand the risks of our business, workers' comp, general liability, auto, et cetera, et cetera. Learn more at pestsure.com. And this year, we also work with Voice for Pest, and I believe they also have a vertical called Voice for Lawn. That's plugged into Real Green and other CRMs. The really cool thing about them is that they are plugged into almost all of the CRMs in both pest and lawn, and they design unparalleled voice solutions for pest control and lawn care people, and provide AI services within that. And so they're pretty cool. So if you want to learn more about that, it's voiceforpest.com/podcast. And if you're interested in one of our peer groups, visit pmpindustryinsider.com/peer groups. Go back, listen to episode 136. Very informative. Our guest today was a peer group member of mine many years ago. This is going to be an interesting one. So today we're talking with Charlie King, founder of King Green, which he founded in his basement in 1987 with the help of his wife, Barbara. Over nearly 40 years, King Green has grown to 9 locations in 3 states. Today, Charlie's daughters, Jennifer and Amber, lead the company, and he just exited with his daughters to private equity, and we're going to talk quite a bit about that. But first, let's meet Charlie, and we'll talk about how he grew up. Charlie, welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome,
you,
Charlie.
Dan. And I'm here in beautiful Flowery Branch, Georgia, on the wonderful shores of Lake Lanier. Enjoying at least a partial retirement. I'm 70 years old. I grew up in South Atlanta. Went to Walter F. George High School, and then attended the University of Georgia and majored in personnel management. It was human resources before it was called human resources. I'd worked in grocery stores through high school, through college, and a buddy of mine was working for the Rollins Corporation that owns Orchid. And he said, "Hey, you're looking for a job. Why don't you come spray lawns with us for the summer while you look?" And I think that was 78. And I said, "Sure." Went and did it, liked it, never looked back. Went up to, I don't even remember what year. I think it was 81 or 82. I went to Cincinnati, Ohio, and started a store for the Rollins people. Came back to Atlanta and got recruited by True Green. the great big monster in the sky. And I worked for them for about 3 or 4 years, and just decided that, I had a young baby. I had a 6-month-old child. Um, I was probably half crazy, and I helped with a little help from my parents to get a truck and a spray unit. I went out and started knocking on doors, and I just like what I do, guys. I'm one of those crazy lawn jockeys from the old school that likes to spray lawns, and more importantly, I like to talk to people. I enjoyed the agronomy. I enjoyed the people, and I enjoyed my career. And I still go to the office, 3 or 4 days a week. I do try to travel some, um, more to the Gulf Coast of Florida. I've got a condo down there in Fort Walton Beach, and we just had a good time building a business, getting the family involved, and now I'm kind of on the edge of being gone.
Well,
Well,
let's talk about
wait,
that.
wait, wait. Before we talk about that, let's talk about your toy room or that Lake Lanier, when I came to visit. Charlie likes his toys.
I do like my toys.
Tell
We
us
do a
what.
lot of boating. We do a little bit of fishing. I'm a car nut. I like cars. I've got a Shelby, and then I've got an old 1970 Mach 1 and a 1960 Chevy that my dad gave me that I restored. And my daughter Jennifer actually left her wedding in it. That's that car's claim to fame. But we like to have fun, and you got to take your off time with your hard work time, and try to enjoy some of this world that God gave us. So.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So you talked about you guys are a family business. Can you just walk us through which family members that you got involved in the business over the years and kind of what they did and just, kind of what does it mean, as far as you guys being a family business?
Whew, that's a big one.
Hmm.
Early on, I was honestly doing everything. I was spraying the lawn, writing the checks, selling the turf, and I had a couple of good friends working with me that had worked with me at True Green, and I was spraying an apartment complex down near my parents' house, and my younger brother came by, and he said, "Hey, you need some help?" I was like, "Anybody, help, please."
Hmm.
We did a lot of subcontract work for mowing companies early on, and that's a dynamic that not a lot of people embrace, but I do. I always liked it. I liked the prestige of working with great landscape maintenance contractors, and of course, I like being able to sell 15 or 20 lawns at a time instead of one. But my little brother came by. He said, what do you need? I said, just help me, drive the truck, pull the hose. And he started that day, and he worked with me for many years, and became a partner. Unfortunately, he had been born with some pretty bad back problems, and he became disabled at about 53. Uh, my wife changed jobs or wanted to change jobs about a year and a half or 2 years in, and we needed some help in the office. Unfortunately, Barbara passed away 13 years ago now, and but she was an integral part of our office, and she was just smart as a whip. She did all of the office integration, and this was before Real Green, or early on we used a software called the Service Solution, which was acquired by Real Green. But Barbara helped. My daughters, Jennifer, my daughter, who is now president of the company, was 6 months old when I started it. So she grew up in it. My youngest daughter, 4 years behind Jennifer, Amberly, she grew up in it. They saw dad in the basement. They saw dad run the phone room. They saw dad run the leads. They saw dad washing the trucks. And they heard dad on the telephone, and,
Hmm.
it was kind of logical for for them and some of the kids that they went to school with to work with us as we started to grow. Jennifer, I don't think has worked much other than maybe a summer job somewhere at school, other than King Green. Amberly worked at some different places. She went to Appalachian State up in Boone, North Carolina for a couple of years. Came back to the Atlanta area and actually became a EMT. And she went to a 2-year course for that. Worked at some various retailers and some stuff like that. Nothing on the career end. She finished and didn't really want to ride in an ambulance, much to her dad's dismay. I said, wait a minute, we just did this for 2 years, and
Right.
Daddy, this is not what I want to do. And so she came to work with us, and they both did everything. We did pest control for many years, in the kind of the middle of this whole thing. We did 10 or 12 years when we did pest control. And really, I wish I would have kept the pest. I liked it. I got a little frustrated with it. We made some strategic errors and sold to too big a geographical area to run from one location. And it was hard to make money when you run it 60, 70 miles to an account. So we sold that, but both of them just grew up in it. They both love it. Amber's doing human resources and accounting services. She finally did. She got her degree in accounting from North Georgia University up in Dahlonega, Georgia, which is also where Jennifer graduated from. And,
You're being humble. The two of them run a great company.
sir?
You're being humble. The two of them run an amazing company.
But yes, they do a good job.
They are really,
They-
really
they-
good. So,
They're pretty special. They work hard. And, through this exit process, Dan, you know how numb you've got to be you just got to focus on it at the same time, continue to run your company and then not tell anybody what you're doing in your off time.
mhm.
And
And
they
you got to
pulled it
have a
off.
good poker face, and Jennifer has a very good poker face.
Yes, she does. Yeah. And Jennifer's, she's a lot better than her dad at saying what she wants to say and not just, I'm a blabber. I'll tell you the whole story, So I kind of hid in the office and I went to Fort Walton Beach and stayed a couple of months while this was all going on and took my laptop with me to answer questions and I watched the process.
So what stage did you start thinking about succession plan, exit strategy? You actually exited with, bringing in a private equity partner, but holding on to some ownership for your daughters. So what made you go that route rather than maybe just passing it on to them, or what was the decision process?
In this was in about 2000. I was approached by a company out of Dallas called Syntex Homes, and they wanted to enter the lawn care market. They had pest control, they had home security, and they wanted to be in lawn care. And one of these guys had come from Oregon. And much to my surprise, I had no idea what they wanted when they came by the office. And
This wasn't Jerry Galoff, was it?
no, it was Mitch Smith and Dave
Okay.
Harmon. And
'Cause that was home
Mitch
team.
actually just sold a big company in Utah, and it's
Yeah.
back to Oregon. But when they approached me, we talked, and I thought I had sold the entire company, and I went to Dallas and met with them. And at that point, I was doing it for the money, guys. I'll be honest with you. I was only 45 years old, and it's like this is an opportunity for me to go, and it just didn't work out. The numbers didn't work, and I was really happy. I never was unhappy in the lawn care business. But anyway, I did not sell my company then, but they called me a couple of years later, and they ended up buying about half of King Green. They bought the Atlanta market, and I stayed in Gainesville and Athens, Georgia, home of the University of Georgia. Go Dogs! And I got to plug my dogs. I stayed in those two markets, and they kept Atlanta. And I think their intention was to, let us grow these markets a little more and probably buy them later. But they ran into the housing collapse, and their whole company collapsed. So our non-compete went away. I went back to Atlanta, and we went for another 25 years. I wasn't looking to sell King Green. My intention all along was my daughters would run it. Their job was to send daddy money. And we were approached in this roll up, you guys know what's going on now in our industry. And we were approached by, 10 emails a week, we got serious with one company, and that just wasn't the right move. When Plexus, who's the company that we partnered with, approached Jennifer, we were able to enter as the platform company for them, with Jennifer being the president, Amber vice president. We were able to retain some equity. And I always thought that Jennifer and Amber would resist something like that, and I never looked for it. It came to me. I'm not unhappy. I'm a very, as my friend Sam Lang told me, he said, I have no seller's remorse. We were able to keep some equity, and this only happened 60 days ago. So I'm still going through it.
Honeymoon phase.
We
honeymoon
worked hard,
phase.
right?
Honeymoon phase,
Everybody
yeah.
still loves me at this point. I hadn't run my mouth too much, but we just feel like we found the right folks to grow this from a 8-9 branch little regional company to something a little bigger. And Jennifer and Amber wanted to be part of something bigger.
So tell us about the diligence process. Tell us about the deal structuring. Tell us about all the stuff we worked on together with them.
If you're like me and you're a small business owner, naive to private equity, you will be amazed as you work through the process. My attorney told me, Charlie, you're going to feel like you had a financial colonoscopy. That was an understatement. I mean, at the end of the day, I was like, you want to know what? You're doing what? These people spend a whole lot of money to find out things that I already knew. That we were honest, we were straightforward, we ran a good business. Could we run it better? Yeah. Did we go to the extremes for profit? Probably not. We just were having fun being lawn care jockeys, and Dan, you ran our books. We like to make money. We like everybody else. We like to make money, but we could have made more money if we'd have put it to the grindstone and done things that maybe we should have done. But the quality of life and the quality of our employees wouldn't have been the same. So
you also built a great brand. It was
we built
everybody in the
brand.
market knew who King Green was. Everybody in the industry knew who King Green was.
And I did the through the years, I was a board member for our local lawn and turf group, which it then was called Malta. It was the Metropolitan Atlanta Landscape and Turf Association, and I grew to be the president, which is what Jennifer is doing now. It's called Urban Ag Council, and it's a Georgia Association of Landscape Managers and turf grass and plant growers and things like that. And I also participated in the PLACA, Professional Lawn Care Association of America board. We planned our family vacations around their board meetings and just had a lot of fun with it. and now Jennifer is on their board, and she's been very successful there.
So that's the predecessor to NALP, right?
Yes, that is the predecessor to NALP. In fact, I was sitting on the board when we made the decision to merge Professional Grounds Maintenance Association and a landscape, ALCA, I think it was, Association Landscape Contractors of America, and the PLACA into one group, and we renamed it now. And now NALP is doing their own thing again. So I guess it's just the cycle of life for associations.
Yeah.
But, as we've grown, developed the brand, we feel like it was more than just a company. It was a family. We've had one manager exit as a result of our partnership, and he said, "I just don't want to work for any bigger company." And we shook hands. We actually had lunch the other day, and he's going to be starting a competitive company, and more power to him. I think there's plenty of lawns out there, guys. There was plenty when I did it, and there's plenty today. There's no reason to be afraid of good competition.
So tell us, so you were multi-state, and that made your tax situation a little somewhat complex, but then it really got complex when you're trying to do a deal like this. Tell us about some of the things that that we went through, some of the things that we planned for and how we made it work, and maybe some advice to others. I think your situation is probably more complicated than most, but gives people a flavor for how this whole thing works and some of the smart tax planning or some of the tax planning that goes into it.
We got pretty screwy. We had three companies. Okay. And again, uninitiated business owner, and I thought I was smarter than the rest, and maybe I was. I mean, I didn't do too bad in the whole deal, but
No.
We started three companies for two real reasons. One was liability. If something happened in one company, it didn't affect the others, and through the limited liability of corporations, we were able to insulate one from the other. Now, thank goodness, nothing ever happened, and nothing ever, we never needed that. The other reason was that I told you that my little brother was a partner. When we started our Gainesville shop, we started King Green of Northeast Georgia. And we set it up with a little different ownership structure. Then when we started Charlotte, I wanted to put some golden handcuffs on some guys. So we had our manager, and Dave had a master's degree from Emory University. He was bright, very bright. He was sales oriented, and he had worked for us for 4 or 5 years. And he thought he wanted to go do the medical ethics thing until he found out he had to wear a suit and tie every day. And he decided he'd be a partner with King Green, so we started a third corporation. So we had three corporations, all owing each other money, all with different ownership structure. And pulling that all together, it was intense. And Dan, thank you for your help.
You bet.
If I had this to do over again, and I had any inkling that I was going to sell, and once again, I wasn't looking to sell. I would get a Dan Gordon or somebody like that, and I would go through my books with a fine-tooth comb. I would clean them up. I would not even take a gas ticket for myself personally. I would have the cleanest set of books that you can imagine. And that would have made our process, and I would not have three companies. I would have found a way to merge them all into one group and present one set of books. I don't think even the accountants for Plexus, they think they know what we had, but at the end of the day, it was pretty screwy. Dan, I think you'll agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the diligence process on that one was complicated because there were a lot of great questions that were asked, and it all worked out. And I mean, there was nothing. It was just complicated, right? The way it was done. There was nothing. Everybody did the right thing, but it was just very complicated.
Yeah, it was not in any way were we trying to hide anything from anybody or do anything like that. No, we just had three companies, and it was kind of like taking money out of one pocket and putting it in the other. For me, I owned the majority of each corporation.
So you talked about you were not planning on selling, but then private equity came into the picture. How did that happen? Like, did they just approach you? Did they send you an email? I mean, did you see them at a conference? Like, how did that introduction happen?
The group that we went with, Plexus, Jennifer actually met this man at the Now Association meetings, and how, I don't know. I'm assuming that he was on a mission to acquire some lawn care companies, and he saw a gem in the rough, kind of with King Green. He told me we were the belle of the ball, and I think we were. There's not a lot of King Greens out there, not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had our logo has always been the finest lawn service available, or the finest service company available. And I think they found it, and they were looking for that gem to be polished. And early on, the process that I'm seeing, they're bringing some technology and some guidance to our staff and our team that is going to do exactly that. It's going to make our edge a lot sharper. But yeah, it got complicated, and we're still settling. We've not even seen the final on the closing statement. I think that'll be another 30 or 40 days.
Oh, the true
no surprises.
Yeah.
No surprises.
Yeah. Let me ask you. So a lot of people sell out and just take the cash and run, or take a note and run. A lot of people are starting to roll equity. So how do you feel about that? What made you say, great? I know Jennifer and Amber were all about it. Tell me a little bit about that.
It gave us an opportunity to retain some ownership in the future. And I kind of laugh, we're going to be doing some acquisition work, and that's really kind of my job as a hobby right now is do some acquisitions, but I'm spending other people's money. So that's the fun part. I'm excited about the rollout. We've not made any acquisitions year to date, or in 60 days.
Yeah, 60 days.
It's not ready yet. But the rollover equity is going to give my daughters and I and several team members the opportunity to participate in the growth that we're going to see, in the next, 10 years. I don't know. Jennifer's 38. No, she's 39. Amber's 35. Daddy's 70. Daddy's kind of cooked. They asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to retire, but I still want to keep my toe in it, and keeping a financial toe in it is pretty good. It gives the family an opportunity to probably retire at, let's say 50, and maybe do some consulting and things like that. And it gives our team members an opportunity to participate financially so that they can build a decent retirement. And we had a 401k, and we had the traditional, and I've always encouraged people to save for the future. My dad was a saver. I'd like to think I was a saver, and it gave us an edge up for our future and for our children's future.
Well,
So
I was going to ask one quick
Yeah, go ahead.
question. You obviously built a very successful business. What could you tell others that are listening to the podcast, like how could they do that as far as building the value of their lawn care business? Any guidelines or any thoughts concerning that?
In 25 years ago, it was all about building gross volume. Um, Today, it's about building EBITDA or profits. Um, Obviously you have to have the volume to get the profits. So, you got to work hard and knock on a lot of doors. You've got to have a great marketing department, which we always did. You just have to sell lawn care. Uh, you have to stay close to the client. You have to do client outreach. Early on, we did a paper newspaper. And, when I first started it, I thought it was kind of dumb, but after people told me how much they like Turf Talk from Charlie, and I talk about everything from my kids at college to my dog in the yard, but they liked the little, reading room literature. So, you've got to keep in good contact with your customers. I think you've got to be generous with your customers when they have an issue or they've got a problem. You got to, maybe you're a little too generous with a credit here and there. You got to make them believe that you are there doing the right thing. And you do the right thing even when nobody's looking. We do a lot of work when nobody looks. Dan, you run a lawn care and pest business. Today we've got cameras everywhere. Everybody can look if they want to. But I like to run a company that they don't think they have to go look at the cameras to see if we sprayed the behind the tennis court or around the pool. We do the right thing. We knock on the door, we flag the lawn, we put the chalk block down in front of the truck so it doesn't end up in your neighbor's yard. You just every single day, what would I want done at my house if this guy came to my house? And that's the philosophy.
So 60 days out, what's life been like? I think you have it blurred out in your thing, but you're with your grandkids in their playroom. Any stress or how you feeling?
I'm good. And of course, there's been some stress. I still have an office. I haven't been
What do you do in that office?
and I go to the office. I go in 3 or 4 days a week.
Mhm.
I mean, I actually asked Jennifer last week to get me more involved than I was. I felt a little bit like a guy that retires from the factory and doesn't know what to do tomorrow. There's been some loss there for me.
You got to get a lot of hobbies, right?
I got plenty of hobbies, but one of them is lawn care. Last Friday, I keep a little warehouse at my office for Charlie's stuff, and last Friday I was up there sawing some. I bought an old barn and had it disassembled probably 10 or 15 years ago, and I've had it stored. And I've got some property up in Habersham County, which is one county to the north of us on a little river. And I had some guys up, and we were sawing the boards to square them up so I can use them building a cabin here down the road. I also mowed the lawn out front. I like a real mowed lawn. The guys that are mowing the grass are good friends of mine. I've known them for 35 years. And Charlie is proud to say he never owned a lawnmower. Okay, doesn't mow grass. I like to spray it. I like to grow it. I like to tell other people what to do with it, but I don't want to mow. But
you're living the American dream.
I am. I was up there last week and I decided I'm gonna start real mowing part of my lawn just to make it look as good as it can.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself.
Sir?
Don't hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm not gonna hurt myself. It was a small area. Let's keep it that. But we took the lumber and we're gonna make a real pretty little cabin up there with some 100-year-old barn wood and mix it in with some tin and kind of a redneck. Chat GPT and I have become good friends on the design of cabin and barn look. You know,
Nice.
it's it's amazing. It's amazing to me. You know, Jennifer kind of gave me the input on that. She said, "Daddy, try this stuff. You know, it's pretty cool. You know, design me a barbecue shack. And, you know, how it comes. And then put a chimney on it. Okay, put a chimney on it. Put a steeple on it. It's those are just I'm just enjoying life, and I couldn't be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's awesome.
Charlie, I tell you, this has been great, and I think for a lot of our listeners, I think they get a lot of good sage advice about what it's like to really start from nothing, and then you're kind of the epitome of the American dream, and so congratulations on a successful exit. Congratulations on building a very valuable business, not only for obviously your exit and your retirement, but also for your family, and very commendable. And again, I think it's going to be super great for our listeners who may be aspiring, they may be in it, they may be maybe 20 or 30 years behind you, and it's always good to hear folks who are ahead and what they're doing. And so, Dan, anything before we finish out here?
No, nope. Other than Charlie is the American dream, and his daughters are really, really terrific.
Yeah, I've got a special family, and they're all hardworking too. And
Yeah.
you know, all I can say, guys, is don't go looking to sell it. Just work hard at it. Make it the best you can make it, and they'll come looking for you.
Yeah.
Play hard to get.
Very good advice. Very good advice. Well, just a reminder, all the resources and topics we talked about today are going to be available on the podcast website. Take a look at pnpindustryinsider.com. Take a look under show notes. You'll see a summary of this episode as well as any resources we talked about. And like always, we appreciate any positive ratings and reviews that you have, and all complaining in general, just anything pretty negative, we ask that you pass that to Dan. He really appreciates that. And with that, we're going to sign off. We'll see you all next time. Take care now.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
See ya.
Thank you now.
Y'all have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye now.